Who exactly is lying to the president? Who? The president has announced the easing of the lockdown on the strength of a lie. Who is lying to the president? We've been locked down now for 5 weeks. Prior to the lockdown, they made us a commitment of testing 1,500 persons every day. 1,500 persons times 14 days is 21,000. Times 4 weeks is 42,000. How then can the committee tell us that they have tested only slightly above 10,000? Today we're close to 2,000 persons who have tested positive to the virus. If we use the strength of 10,000 total already tested and 2,000 already infected, that places us at 20% infection. That's higher than every other country. Research findings are based on percentage. Who is lying to the president? Because on the strength of a lie, he has approved an ease and he has also approved an increase in the number of people to be tested daily to 2,500. If they could not accomplish 1,500, then how are they able to achieve 2,500 a day? The nurses and doctors and all health workers are working extremely hard, breaking themselves into pieces just to save lives. And a few people are sitting in the comfort of an air-conditioned room and reaching agreements that empowers only their pockets. Why make a mess of people's effort? Why? You know, sometimes when I sit down and I think of some of the things that people sit in committees and come up with, I wonder what runs in their veins. Blood or water? Because they react like people who don't feel the pains of others. You have moved responsibility from yourself and you have hung it on the neck of the common masses. The same people that you are supposed to be protecting. During the lockdown, a lot of the poor were on the streets. Why? Because your palliative did not get to them. So they were out there struggling to see how they can feed off the food that you hold at them. So the palliatives didn't get there. No one is empowered to carry out research. So research isn't going on. Nothing is going on. And now you are throwing people back in the streets. A street that you haven't fumigated, you haven't cleaned up, but you have told us that this virus is airborne and can stay airborne for 8 hours. I don't understand. Do you even assume that everyone is stupid? Let us take, for instance, Lagos State. With no traffic during the lockdown, they could not trace people who had contact with those who had tested positive to the virus. They couldn't trace them. So imagine now, with traffic, how they will trace anyone. And if someone needs help deliberately, how will the NCDC get to the person? I don't understand. Do we want to end up like Ghana, who lifted their lockdown prematurely and ended up with all the casualties that they have? Can we handle that casualty? Someone is lying to the president, and that person needs to stop. The president cannot be allowed to reach decisions on the strength of a lie. And Nigerians cannot live with this lie. Let me thank all health workers for their sacrifice of love, for working 24 hours round the clock trying to save lives. Posterity will be kind to you. Thank you. So, Mr. President has announced an extension of 2 weeks stay at home. Not bad. We can do that. That's not my problem. My problem is What are we doing? Strategy. Who exactly is in charge of this war against coronavirus? You know, if we keep sweeping things under the carpet, they're going to turn around and bite us. And whatever you allow, you have given approval to. So, let's deal with this. You know, plainly, looking at ourselves, let's tell ourselves the truth. There are two sets of people out there. The uninformed and therefore ignorant people, most of whom live in the rural areas, and then the very angry ones, daily workers who live amongst us, who do not understand why you have asked them to not make a living, to just stay in their house and wash hands. Who is catering for them? Who? You know, I don't understand it. Whoever told a politician that the best way to give a very hungry man food is to drive the food through a crowd and haul it at them? You told us social distancing, but what we see is social clustering. You make people sprawl in front of you because of food and then they fight over it. How dehumanizing. You have turned them to animals, that now what they do is actually act like animals, attack people in their homes, believing that those are the problems. After all, this is an urban myth. Big man's wahala. You know, you could have just very simply printed vouchers, bought this food and used the structures that you as politicians created. During the elections, you went to your wards. You spoke to people in the language that they understood. You engaged these young people. How is it that at this particular point, you do not know that most of these young people who are resident in your constituency can be useful? How is it that you do not know that you can hand them the food, the vouchers, and give them the list to go door to door and deliver this? You don't play politics with life. No. You must make them beg you as the big man that you think that you are. Which brings me to the banks. You were quick to make donations. Great. You have data. You have everyone's information who banks with you, because at every transaction you take something away. You keep deducting people's money. When you have a crisis like this, you deal first with the most vulnerable. So by their statement of account, you can identify them with ease. All you needed to do was use the same structure that you use in deducting monies from them, that you sum up and announce as your annual profit. Use same structure and pay in a little something into every account that they can survive on throughout this lockdown. But no, you must book your next big customer, which is government. You know, it's funny how government forgets government structure. And that's why I'm asking, who is actually in charge? Because it is you I want to address. You can use those word structures. Use them. Speak to people in the language that they understand. Let the politicians go back there and speak to their constituents. Use those words as sensitization area, as speak up area, and of course as testing ground. We are running out of time. If we don't do this very quickly, we're going to have more trouble on our hands. Why? Because we do not know who the last person was who went struggling for food. Right now we are all at risk. Save us the trouble, save this country anarchy, and please do your work now. God bless Nigeria and keep us all alive.
My guys, Mona see Nepa the share bill for this season. Mona see what the apple for my country, for my street. Mona see Nepa the share bill for where they say, may they say where they not share bill. So see Nepa people, see them that they share bill for this kind of season where people not go work. wey lockdown see Nepal people. They share bill for Mame for Ogida. See they share bill. They share bill. I don't know bill where they share for this kind of season where people not go work. See they share bill. Una not share food. Una they share bill. Una they share bill. So na get mad una not share food. Una they share bill for this area. More na they share the bill. They go more see how una want take on. How una want take on cut the wire. For you, whether una not get TV for us. See Nepal people they share bill. They not share rice. They not share food. They share bill. See them. See Nepal people they share bill. See am. You dey crazy. So Ogu dey kill you. Want me to beat you for this? Ogu dey kill you. Ogu dey kill you. You dey mad. See the guys. See am. For Ogida, see Nepal people they share bill. For see wetin dey happen for Nigeria. I'll see them. See wetin dey happen.
I think Africans should come to that realization that it is not vaccines. It is healthy living. Give people job. Thabo Mbeki once told the world, don't tell us about giving us HIV drugs in South Africa. Give us money. Let us improve our agriculture. Let everybody have a job and is working and is living healthy. HIV virus will disappear. The same thing with coronavirus. It will sound very controversial, but they should know that I am talking from sound intellectual and scientific background. The virus itself, the test method itself, the PCR test method, is an unreliable test method and is never to be used for diagnostic purpose, but for genomic sequencing, for just research purposes. But PCR is being used, test kits are being produced, test kit manufacturers are making cool money. If I test you and you're coronavirus positive, what do? There is no vaccine today, there is no established, approved international treatment protocol. However, you have also announced that some people have recovered. Those people who have recovered, why don't you go and take their serum? Their serum shows that if they have recovered, it means they now have the antibody against the virus. So go take their serum, do a synthesis of their serum based on the electrophoresis and synthesize and mass produce the vaccine. Why can't federal government start putting money on the research on the production of that vaccine in Nigeria? We have professors of virology, intelligent Nigerian professors of virology lying waste in the universities. With the money you have now, you can set up a proper vaccine production plant, a first of its kind, a world-class vaccine, and very easy. I teach immunology in a university, and what do? That healthy man that you say has recovered, you have discharged 19, you have discharged 20, they have recovered. That means that those people are strong and healthy enough that their antibodies they have generated, you can extract it and pass it through a Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, through a dictionary to establish the active ingredients, active immunoglobulins that responded to your the coronavirus. Then synthesize it in large quantity and mass produce it, and that becomes your vaccine.
IMF, World Bank, all other institutions, they make African countries jump through hoops. Loans will never be able to pay. The US, when they borrow money, they're getting it in 1.5, 1.9 interest rate. Africans, when they get the same amount of money, they're paying 9, 10%. The people who don't need a break, they get a break. The ones who need a break, they don't get a break. The sheer survival of the World Bank, IMF, is based on the fact that African countries and many other developing countries do not succeed. Their success is based on our failure. That has to change. And guess who can make that change? We, the children of Africa, we, the Africans, are the ones who have to say, we know your game now. Enough is enough. We're not playing it anymore. And this is where the diaspora come in. There are more Ghanaian doctors in New York City than in the entire country of Ghana. There are more Nigerian doctors in LA than in the entire country of Nigeria. So let's be serious here. What Africa needs is capacity, capacity, capacity. And that capacity is in the diaspora. So it behooves us to bring the diaspora together. Let them understand what is really going on in our Africa. Diaspora are not going home. Diaspora are angry about Africa because they are not understanding the root cause of why Africa is where it is today. They think getting rid of a president will take care of the problem. Far from it. That president is just going to be replaced by another one who's going to equally suffer from the same difficult environment to work in. So let's look at an Africa that must be free to take care of herself, an Africa that's free from exploitation from outsiders. The multinationals who are stealing from Africa every day in broad daylight. I use an example of the DRC. If you ever fly very low over the DRC, you'll see tarmacs in the jungle. You'll see 747s flying into DRC, picking up minerals and flying right out. The same multinationals are responsible for arming young people and giving them MK-16s. Because why? Their satellites in the skies are telling them where that village is. There are lots of diamonds. So what do? Arm young people, drag them up, and send them to go chop off a few heads. The rest of the village runs away, so they come behind and do their illegal mining. We black people must understand what is really going on. Because what we are shown instead is, oh, look at those Africans killing each other. There are some serious games that have been played in Africa for far too long. And once we understand that, we can strategize as to how we can begin to bring the difference and bring the change that Africa needs. And that change can only come if the African diaspora are united. And the Wakanda villages, as I call them, it is our organized way of saying, starting with one African diaspora center of excellence, it will be a new city, a developmental hub that we can then take from there. Every sector is developed. Take healthcare. How many doctors do we need in this region to take care of this many people? We pick up education, same thing. We pick up engineering. We pick up electricity. How many megawatts of power do we have in the region? How many do we need? Be it solar, be it wind, be it hydro, be it geothermal, be it...